All right, welcome back. So we're going to be talking about foreign checks. So you may be wondering, what is a foreign check? Does it come from Europe? So technically yes, but foreign checks is going to be any check from a different casino than where you are currently working. So even if you are seeing a check from a sister company that you know is owned under the same company as the casino that you work at, if it doesn't originate from your actual casino, then that's considered a foreign check. So for example, this is the one that we use here, but I sometimes will see people come through and they have this from the Palms. So this is not from here, so I would notice it as a foreign check. So if a player chooses to bet a foreign check, before we deal, we have to case our layout. If you haven't seen that video already, I go into great detail on that. Just go ahead and watch the casing the layout video. So we're going to inspect every single bet spot and make sure that all the bets are proper and so on and so on. And you might notice a check that's not the right color that you're not really used to seeing. So if that's the case, before you just grab the money, a lot of times players don't like it when you touch their bet. So ask the player permission if you can touch the bet. I'm sorry, can I just take a look at this really quick? I don't really recognize what that is. Is that okay?
Wow. It's fine.
Just like that. That's all we have to do. After we get permission, we're going to clear our hands and we're going to see if there's a foreign check in there. So I do see a foreign check in there. Once I see it, I can bring it over to the dealer's left side of the shuffle pad. And now I'm going to make the approval call, foreign checks, to Floor. So Floor will come by, and we have to Floor has to tell us if we are allowed to accept this. However, even if we are allowed to accept it, players are not allowed to actually play them. So we have to exchange them for our own checks. So I would call Floor would come over, and I would say, am I allowed to accept this? And then Floor will take a look at it, and then they'll either say yes or no. If they say no, they'll hand it back to the player, or they'll have you hand it back to the player. And sometimes they don't know, and they'll have that player go to the cage, and the cage will determine if they're allowed to accept it or not. But if it's low value stuff, like $1, like in this case, usually Floor is going to say, yeah, that's fine, no problem. And if they give you the go-ahead, we're going to bring out an equal amount of whatever that amount of checks is on the right side, because just like we discussed in previous lessons, this side is money coming in, this side is money going out. So once it's equal on both sides, we're going to make the approval call foreign check change $1. Even though it's $1, it's a foreign check change. So because of that, Floor is going to be most likely right there, and they're going to say go ahead anyway, because they're not really going to leave, because they know essentially after they give you the go ahead, you're immediately going to knock it out. So after they give you the go ahead, we're going to hand it back to the player. And then the foreign check that we have does not go in the rack. It goes right here in the paddle where we put the cash. So we're just going to lift the paddle, drop it in there, put the paddle back in, and we're good to go. Simple as that.